Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Carolina Buffalo on a Panthers Monday. All Panthers today. All Panthers today. Ain't no reason to talk about the Bills. They did their thing against the Steelers. There's a top to that. We can do that later. Right now, talk of the town. Matt Rhule has been fired. Matt Rhule has been fired. Steve Wilkes takes over as the new coach of the Carolina Panthers. David Tepper's getting ready to make a media announcement coming up. If anybody really cares about what he has to say. I think we all know by now, the way he thinks since he's taken over the team in 2018. I believe he took over, and he went all in on Matt Rhule. So good luck to Matt Rhule. I guess he took his defense guy with him, Phil Snow. He's gone too, so that puts Steve. So Dave McAdoo is still the offensive coordinator, and been hearing a lot of things from a lot of mouths today about the Carolina Panthers, including my own. I got on the radio just a while ago, had my say on the Carolina Panthers Talk Radio 92.7 this afternoon with KB. I listened to this morning. It was all right, but I'll just say my thoughts. We're not going to ask too much about what I think because right now it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter a whole lot what I think because there's so much unknown that's going on with this team that all I can do is just give you opinions. So the biggest thing is to get your opinions and what you think needs to be done with the team from now on. Matt Rhule's gone. I thought that before the season started that he shouldn't have been here, but they went out and they got Baker Mayfield. Now I said that before they went out and got Baker Mayfield, I said, well, what's the difference between him and Sam Darnold anyway? Would it really be that much difference? The only difference is that they expired some hope. And I'm disappointed because I felt that we could have had a better season going forward. We tried to put a Band-Aid on things with Baker Mayfield. I said I was a Baker Mayfield believer. He's gone now. Oh, phone calls already coming in for today's show. We'll get to you in a second. I'm looking forward to hearing from you guys. I'm excited. PJ Walker's the new quarterback. I don't know what he's doing. I got a Sam Darnold jersey. I got a Baker Mayfield jersey. I never did buy into the Jimmy Clausen jersey. I like Cam Newton, what he did on the field, but I was never really a big Cam Newton fan personally. I like some of the stuff that he did within the community. I like this Cam Newton hockey night for charity that he did. That was really cool. It was the coolest thing I've ever seen him do. I thought that he was a fantastic quarterback, and he really did bring the pain. And I was calling for his head a long time ago because I was kind of a Cam Newton hater because I just didn't like the whole towel on the head thing, and I didn't like some of the things that I heard that he had done, stealing the laptop in college, and the way he carried himself most of the time. Just didn't like it. As he's matured and gotten older, say what you want about the guy, whether you like him or don't like him. The point is that he won football games with the Panthers, and that's what matters the most. And it was fun watching the Panthers win football games. I said on the radio, it's not fun going to a Panthers game. You spend all your hard money to go there, It's expensive. The parking is extremely expensive. You go and pay for seats that you're going to be really up high to begin with. So you're there, and then the atmosphere is now you're getting dominated by the other team. What I saw this last Sunday was a massive amount of 49ers fans that showed up in the grocery store. I go to the grocery store to get some snacks for Sunday's game, and the whole grocery store's got 49ers fans in it. I didn't see anybody in there with any Carolina Panthers gear on, and the Harris Teeter. I think they're like the grocery store of the Carolina Panthers. I don't know if they still are. They used to be. But anyway, it's been a sad season. I was hoping that the Panthers would be better than they were. I gave Matt Rhule another chance. He did not do what you know, we thought that maybe he'd be able to do, which was turn the team around. The defense stepped up, really shined. Now they're not so good. Didn't look so good on Sunday, but there were some highlights there. Uh, the stats. I was looking at the stat book while I was listening to my boy Phil from the Rocky 2 soundtrack, and the Panthers stats, other than Christian McCaffrey getting that one touchdown, he's going to do what he does. They really cannot generate any offense. Try to get DJ Moore going. Another 8-yard rush, 59 receiving. Shy Smith, 69. Robbie Anderson, 59. Terrence Marshall, 30. How about, I do like Raheem Blackshear. He played on Buffalo Bills preseason, and he was fantastic. It's a great addition. You might as well just get him out and start using him because I tell you that I was so fed up with the Panthers that I said I'm not going to waste any more of my time in the fourth quarter. They were getting trounced. It's a nice fall day. I'm going to spend some time with my son, shoot some hoops, and spend some time with the family. Had been watching the Bills all day, and by the time it had gotten to that, I had already fallen asleep one time. And they're just weren't generating enough offense and putting up enough good defensive plays for me. I saw the McCaffrey touchdown, and I think I made it to about the fourth quarter. So anyway, good job for Raheem Blackshear. It's nice to see 28.6 average, 200 yards on kick return, and good for him. I thought he should have been on the Bills, but it's good that he wound up with the Panthers because I think that this guy is primed for a role in the starting running back position. Um, it's going to be tough to overcome McCaffrey, but we got to start thinking about some stuff here. Do we keep McCaffrey? Do we trade him? These are things that I don't really know. Like I said, I don't know. I guess it looks like that they've got the highest probability to get the number one draft pick right now. So you get the highest number one draft pick. We're going to draft another quarterback. You can look at the amount of draft picks. Baker Mayfield was a number one draft pick. Um, Josh Allen was seventh, but there was somebody else that was before him that I can't remember who it was. He was Sam Darnold, I think, was a higher draft pick than Josh Allen. You just don't know with these guys, and he came from Wyoming. Some of these guys came from really prestigious collegiate schools. It's just such a big difference transitioning from college and the NFL, especially because you're playing on teams where you've got the best people in the nation playing for you. Now all of a sudden everybody's a star. So what you gonna do? All right. So good luck to Matt Rhule wherever he goes. I'm excited about um, Steve Wilks being the new coach, breath of fresh air, and good luck to PJ Wilson. And I hope he can, bring it. Um, I hope he can bring it. It's certainly something different to look forward to, and I agree that it was the right time because it was just that stadium was dead, and it still have a hard time thinking. So my questions are due. So ask some questions to you guys. Question is there anybody that we can beat for the rest of the year? Before the firing, I was going to say no. I'm not sure now. I'm going to ask you guys that question when we get our calls. The other question is should any of these guys be traded? And where do you think that we go from here? So, without further ado, I am going to try to call. I talked to my man, former collegiate flag football coach at Western Carolina, who knows probably more about football than besides my father, give him a call here, see if he answers. He said he was interested in talking, and we're going to ask his opinions on those questions that I just asked. So let's get you on speaker here.
Hello?
What up, Big John?
What is happening?
How you doing, man? You're on the Carolina Buffalo Live.
Well, that sounds amazing. Thanks for the invitation.
You're welcome. So I was just saying that I was asking some questions here that we're trying to figure out what we're going to do with the Carolina Panthers now. Obviously, you're aware of the Matt Rhule firing and Steve Wilkes taking over as head coach.
Yes.
You're aware
I
that.
think that we're going to go after Sean Payton.
Okay. You also Baker Mayfield is out now, so now it's P.J. Walker.
Which I think is a good thing because he brings some excitement to the offense. And one of the most drastic changes you can make to a team is to change the quarterback. I know it's not, in this situation it is due to an injury, but you never know. Some of the guys might actually buy into it and play a little bit differently.
Had you been to any Carolina Panthers games this year?
I have not had the opportunity. Unfortunately, my schedule's been a little crazy, but I'm hoping to get one before the end of the season.
Right. So how do you feel overall about the Panthers? I know you're a big diehard Panthers fan. You follow every game. You know a lot about not just the Carolina Panthers, but the overall NFL series, and you know a lot about sports in general. You won fantasy baseball this year. Not too happy about that, but congratulations to that. In an epic final match against my father, that I watched that closely. So congratulations to you on that. But I wanted to say, if I was just this random person and I come up to you and I said, how do you feel about the Carolina Panthers? What would you say?
I would have to say that unfortunately we're having a down year, but I don't think it's going to be a complete rebuild. I think many people, when I look at fan boards and all that, want to say that, but we are fortunate to have a very strong defense. Unfortunately, this past weekend we were missing some key starters. I believe we had both of our starting safeties out for this game, so it made it even more difficult.
Right.
But I think if we can get a coach in here, whether it be Wilkes or someone from the outside that can get this offense turned around, I think we could bounce back into contention much faster than what some of the people out there are thinking.
Okay, right on. Final question I wanted to ask you. I'm looking at the schedule. Okay, so I heard Steve Smith I listened to Steve Smith about an hour ago, and he was talking about the Panthers possibly being traded, and they asked him this question that I think is on everybody's mind. And the question is that can the Carolina Panthers win another football game for the rest of the year, and who will it be? So I'm just going to say it because I was meant to say it before I called you, and I didn't. I was a little hasty about it because I just have a tough time seeing them win any games. Initially, before this firing, I said to myself, I do not think that there's any way that the Panthers could win another game for the rest of the year. So coming up, we have the going to LA at the Rams. Then the Buccaneers are coming to Carolina. Panthers at the Falcons. Panthers at the Bengals. Falcons at the Panthers. Panthers at the Ravens. Broncos at the Panthers. Panthers at the Seahawks, Steelers at the Panthers, Lions at the Panthers, Panthers at Buccaneers, Panthers at the Saints. What stands out to you when you hear that schedule of games that could be won with the talent roster that we have that might even be less of what we have right now?
Well, I might shock you a little bit, but I'm going to say that we can win at least 4 of those games.
Okay. What stands out at those games that you think we could win? Which teams?
Well, I think that the Falcons are a winnable game.
Mm-hmm.
The Falcons are not, they're not some juggernaut on offense or defense right now. personally we're going to see some energy put into this franchise once we get Steve Wilkes running the show. Like I said, I don't know if he's going to be our long-term replacement for Rhule, but we're going to see some excitement. I think PJ Walker is going to bring some more up tempo to our offense, and I'm not saying he's going to win the MVP by any means, but I think that he has a solid chance to possibly even win this job going into next year, because more than likely we will probably draft someone early on in the draft. So I would say the Steelers are a winnable game because Steelers aren't that great either right now. So we have the Steelers. We have 2 games against the Falcons. We have a game against the Seahawks, which that could go either way. I'm not sure if that's at home or away. And I also see the Broncos as a team that, everyone had these high aspirations that they were going to be this great team, and they're not looking very strong.
Look old. They look like a very old team, and they shouldn't, but they do.
They should, but I could say, with a straight face, that there's a possibility to win 5 games right there.
Right there. Well, that's good, and I think that it's certainly a better chance to win these games with our new coach and our new roster compared to our old roster. All right. Well, I got some other calls that I got to make, but I wanted to say thanks for stopping by and saying your take on it, and hopefully we'll get to talk to you again soon.
Sounds great. Like I said, thanks for the invite, and let me know when you ever want me on the show again. I'll be happy to join.
Thanks, man. Keep on, brother.
Thanks, sir.
All right, that was my boy Big John saying his take on that. So some hope is fired, and that's coming from a guy that knows a lot about football. He certainly, I could say, possibly no more than me, but I wouldn't go that far. But he watches NFL. I've seen this guy, what his television schedule usually looks like, and it is NFL Network, like 24 hours a day. So he probably does. So I know he's doing football now, so thanks for his input. All right, so let's go to. We're going to call my dad. Why are we going to call my dad? Because he was a full football scholar to Colgate University, and we're going to ask him what he thinks about the Carolina Panthers and going forward.
Hello.
Hey there.
Hey.
Just want to let you know that you're live on the Carolina Buffalo podcast.
I am.
You are, because obviously you've heard about the Matt Rhule firing by now. I think that the word
I just heard it.
Yeah, the word has gotten out that he is gone, and
plus 2 or 3 other guys too.
Right.
His defensive coordinator, and anyway.
So what did you think about the game on Sunday?
You mean the Panther game?
I mean the Panther game.
Well, as I said, I thought that the quarterback just took an awful beating, and he's out. He's not going to play next week. Did you know that?
I did know that.
He's got a high ankle sprain. So, and Darnold is still on injured reserve. He can't be ready for another week or 2. So they're going to go with the second string quarterback they had last night.
Okay, so I just got off the phone with my one of my good friends, the guy that you lost to in the fantasy baseball championship in a barn burner. But he was my flag football coach in college, and we were going over the schedule to talk about the games we possibly could win. And what we kind of all agreed with is that while the whole outlook of this is bad, the point is that now it inspires some hope. There's potential for change, and I don't think that there was any potential for change after the firing of Matt Rhule. If Matt Rhule is going to continue being the coach, I could see no potential to win another football game for the remainder of the year.
Did you see how much the Panthers owe him?
I believe that they probably owe him quite a bit, because I feel that David Tepper is very reckless with his money, but he has it, and I think that they'll be.
It's at $40 million.
Not bad for a guy that goes was something like 1 and 26 in his last amount.
11 and 27, something like that.
Right. So now we have PJ Walker going into this game at LA next week, who's a struggling team. A lot of people have written the Panthers off, and I listened to Steve Smith. He had a nice interview on the radio for the last hour about what was going to do, and he was telling the players on the Panthers to have their tools sharpened, to be prepared
Yeah.
to be traded because you're going to be going out for job interviews for other teams. Well, he didn't say particular names, but he said that a lot of people were calling him and saying, what do I do now? Because
Yeah.
I think it's safe to say that the Panthers are they're not going to have a winning season for the rest of the year. Anything can happen, but they're
Yeah.
just not going to be winning games. Now, we had talked about, you and I, previously, that we thought that we could win some games against the Falcons.
Yeah.
Now, the last caller, John, he said that he was in agreement with that. I didn't even bring it up. He brought that up first, and we all seem to think that. Now, I kind of seem to be playing the devil's advocate here because I've been keeping an eye on the Falcons, and I think that they are playing with a lot of heart right now. And
Yeah.
I don't think that our heart will be able to match their heart, but I also don't know what this team is going to bring to the table now that there is going to be a fresh, the washer, the clothes have been washed and they're getting put into the dryer. And
Yeah.
we're taking the clothes out of the dryer, and so we could just say that the jerseys have been washed, and they're coming out of the dryer, and they're hot, and they're fresh, and you put on fresh jerseys, and it's going to be a new scheme. We just still got the same offensive coordinator. I don't for now. For now, it's early in the week. I'm pretty sure he'll probably stick around. He seems to be getting out of this with a clean slate somehow. But
I don't know. I don't know why I don't know why they kept him and let the defensive coordinator go. The only thing they really had going for him was a really good defense, and they let the defensive guy go.
now, Steve Wilkes had something to do with the defense too. He was heavily involved in a lot in some of the defensive
Yeah.
schemes, and that's why he's
Yeah.
been promoted, and that earned him
Yeah.
that. Now he went 3-13 with Arizona, and you and I had talked about Josh Rosen being that number one draft pick that they had
Yeah.
the same draft class with Baker and Sam and Josh Allen.
Yeah.
I think I seen a picture of that, and Josh Rosen was this highly touted number one draft pick, and then they went 3-13, and then
Yeah.
he's never been seen again,
Yeah.
and they say
Yeah.
he's never been given a fair shot. So there's a
Right.
change of there's a change of scenery now where how will the players respond to this leadership? There's two leaders. You're going to have the new leader of PJ Walker, and you're going to have the new leader of Steve Wilkes at the head coach. Um,
By the way, PJ Walker is 2-0 as a quarterback.
that's
He's had 2 starts and he's won both his games.
Were these in the preseason?
I'm not sure which is which, but that's a statistic I saw that he was 2-0 as a starting quarterback.
Well, best wishes to them. So we've gone through the schedule, and I guess it looks like maybe they'll have a shot against the Falcons. Maybe they'll have a shot against the Steelers. Maybe they'll have a shot against the Broncos, or the Lions later in the year, and we can hope for that. So maybe we can still bring some fun, back to Carolina for the rest of the year, because if you looked at that stadium going in there this last Saturday, there was no fun. There was no joy in that stadium. There was no joy watching it. I mentioned earlier. I said I didn't. I said I tuned out. I said it's a nice fall day. I'm gonna go play ball with my son. And for the remainder of the game, it's getting late in the day. I was tired and I'm watching football all day. There's no reason to stick around and keep watching that NFL product. So, final question before I let you go is: if I was just a random guy that just walked up to you today and I said, "What do you think about the Carolina Panthers?" What would you say?
I would say they've got a long way to go. It's going to be a long rebuild.
Starting with what? Where do you go from there?
Well, as I said, I thought the defense the defense plays reasonably well, but they can't stay on the field the whole game. They just can't do it. And I think
think they have to have a really good offensive coordinator, an offensive guy.
Somebody that isn't going to get everybody killed, like DJ Moore got killed this
Yeah,
last game.
yeah.
I'm pretty sure that he's injured now. The last time I checked, they said he was out. I don't know if that's going to change by the time Sunday comes around. That's certainly not going to make it any easier for PJ Walker.
Well, I guess it kind of amounts to how much can they get for how much can they get for Christian McCaffrey?
Right, and that right there is thanks for your call, Dad. Appreciate that.
Oh, okay.
Bye now.
My pleasure.
So he brought up a good point there at the end. I've been hearing a lot of talk, and everybody is saying that. How much are we going to get for Christian McCaffrey? It's like, no, we don't want to get rid of Christian McCaffrey. He's the only guy left that we have on the squad that's actually worth something, that looks really good, besides the defense, of course, and besides some of our guys. I've also heard that the offensive line was playing great. I've heard that all day about the offensive line being this fantastic thing, but I thought that they didn't give Baker much time. But they, maybe they made some improvements in time statistically. I didn't, monitor the whole game, but, who are we kidding? How much of the 49ers, prime defense was out there when you're winning games like 37-13 or whatever the final score was? To the point is that, like, it didn't even matter. I mean, it was cool that McCaffrey got the touchdown. Thought that the Baker Mayfield pick six was really the heartbreaker, the really unnecessary kind of the final shot, like the killing blow, so to speak, that really just took you out of it, to just say, man. That's why I wore this jersey today. I said, I don't know if I'll ever get to wear the Baker Mayfield Carolina Panthers jersey again with him as the starter. Not much of an upgrade to Sam Darnold, unfortunately. So, last but not least, we're going to go with, let's go with one final phone call and ask my man what he thinks about it. There is my wife. We'll ask her. There's a call. How you doing, Lindsay? You're live on the Carolina Buffalo.
Oh, hi.
Hi.
Did you want an Obi-Wan Halloween costume?
I already have the cape, but thank you for asking. So we're live on the air right now, and we're talking about all Panthers today. Obviously, we know about the Matt Rhule firing, and just going to say, how do you feel about that?
I'm not upset.
You're not upset. Where do you think, so Baker Mayfield is hurt now, too. We got to go with PJ Walker.
Yep.
Okay. So, obviously, it's been a long season already. I think we're like on week 6, going through all this time, and we had one fun game against the New Orleans Saints, and somebody said earlier that they thought that even though they had beaten the Saints, there was still that feeling of, I'm not too sure if we're going to be able to win any more football games. Also, like, what is the scenario culture going to be like continuing with Matt Rhule? Now, the culture of having Matt Rhule as the head coach after that last game, it was obvious that that there would be no fun left to being able to go to a Carolina Panthers game. There would be no chance of winning against any team, and that we were dead last regardless of what happened. And that was just the way it was going to be, and that our owner wouldn't do anything about it, and that he was just going to go with Matt Rhule no matter what. You would think that he would go with Matt Rhule no matter what, because at the end of the season last year, he did not get rid of him. If there was going to be a time for change, that was the time. Instead of making the change of the coach or the appropriate thing to do, they got rid of Sam Darnold as the starting quarterback for an improvement of Baker Mayfield, inspired hope in all of us. And my opinion is that Baker Mayfield has been an experiment that has blown up in the face of the Carolina Panthers.
Yep.
So going forward now, you get a fresh start with the Carolina Panthers, and you got so the hot off the press today is that all the Carolina Panthers are going to be traded. They're saying Christian McCaffrey might be traded. I heard Steve Smith on the air an hour ago. He was saying that the wide receivers are reaching out to him to ask what he needs to do. What do you think? What do you think we ought to do with the Carolina Panthers going forward from here?
I don't know, but they need a lot of work.
A lot of work. Where would you start?
Coach.
The coach. So right now our coach is Ken Wilkes, and he went 3-13 with Arizona, so he gets a fresh start. Somebody called in earlier and said that they thought Sean Payton would be a good fit and that they were going to pursue him pretty hard. Did you have any other coaching ideas that you thought might be good besides him? Ron Rivera. That is certainly something which a retrospective that he is struggling back there, but he's also been elected 2-time Coach of the Year. So it's not a bad thought. It's an intriguing thought, but I'm not sure. Like personally, if we take Ron back, like how that would look, how the fan base would respond to it. The breath of fresh air is there, having a new coach, and now that Rhule is there. So, can you see the Carolina Panthers winning any more games for the rest of the year? They're playing some teams like. Can you see them beating teams like the Steelers, the Lions, the Falcons, even the Rams this week, who are struggling mightily, but they will be going to the Rams?
I can see them winning more, but I don't see them having a winning season.
I hear you. Well, thank you for calling, and thanks for looking out for me for some Obi-Wan Kenobi Halloween costume accessories.
That's what I'm here for.
Well, I'm glad you're there too. I wanted to ask you for a witness. What did I say the final score of that Bills game was going to be?
50-3.
What was the final score of that game?
40-something to 6.
I think it was actually 38-3.
Oh,
But
38-3.
38-3. So I was close. They took the starters out. But
You were.
anyway, sometimes just to go to show you that sometimes I know what I'm talking about. But anyway, thanks for giving a call.
All right.
Bye. All right, there is none other than my wife, Lindsay, and she has a Christian McCaffrey jersey. We've just got jerseys here that are just not doing very well. Hopefully we can start getting some jerseys around here that's some good luck. The only jersey that I got that I like is my own, but that's 21, and that's Jeremy Chinn's number, and he's on IR. So anyway, it's just been an interesting day today, talking about the Panthers and seeing what everybody thinks. I think we've kind of beaten it into the ground by now that we got PJ Walker going forward. We got Ken Wilkes is the new coach. We got players that are getting ready to get traded, and that they say that we're going to be looking for a quarterback in the draft next year. I'm getting tired of this trying to draft a quarterback and then just hope for the best. Look at the guy that they got now that's sitting there injured. Now we got to go through that again. Maybe it's time to go get a proven guy, if there will be any proven guys. You never know who will appear at the end of the season. But perhaps somebody that can have some stronger potential than Baker did, and maybe our coaching situation improves. I think our team, we only have, I like to say that it really can't get any worse, except you could take away some of the weapons, but it also gives people opportunities. And you don't know just how good people are until they get more playing time. Like you got Raheem Blackshear sitting over there doing kickoff returns. Y'all didn't know him before the start of this week, and now you got a kickoff return that's a beast. What if you give him the ball and he starts going nuts and gets in a new scheme? These players, I don't know a whole lot about our backup wide receivers. I guess we're making some strides with our new backup wide receiver. It seemed to do okay this last week. Let's look at the Panther stats one last time before we wrap it up here. Panthers stats box score. We got Shy Smith, 4 receptions for 69 yards, along with 31. He sure was dropping it a lot. Robbie Anderson, might be time to move on from Robbie. I have not seen Robbie show up very much. He had 1 reception for 32 yards. He's not bad, but he's not very big. I think that our team might be starting to get a little bit older too, and it might be time to start looking at some new faces. You never know who's going to show up. Look at the defense. A lot of people showed up for the defense that really stepped their game up, that were provided opportunities this year. You see what they could do. So you never really know what can happen. It's any given Sunday. You got struggling Rams coming up. We're going to LA. I don't know if we can win it, but certainly is going to be something that you can keep an eye on and another reason to tune in and look forward. So, anyways, thanks guys for all your phone calls today. We're going to keep pounding. We're going to try to stay positive. At least we can look forward to some football being played instead of just not looking forward to anything at all. You know, Matt Rhule, he's gone. Ken Willis is there. Baker Mayfield, he's out. PJ Walker's getting shot. You know, it's time to shine, man. There's nothing left to do but to do it. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Peace out.